So the first thing to think about is keywords, which, as this image here suggests, is the cornerstone of your SEO strategy. Keywords or keyword phrase refers to a phrase that describes what you do. And generally, you pick a keyword phrase and you stick with it. So if you are, just for instance, a telecommunications provider in Fargo, North Dakota, your keyword phrase will probably be something like Fargo Telecommunications Phone and Internet Provider. That is a keyword phrase that describes exactly who you are. It tells your geographical location, and it's a phrase that that can be easily repeated. Now that keyword phrase then becomes something you put in the title of your website and also in the meta tags of every page of your site. Now let me explain what a meta tag is. Here's an example of meta tags in HTML. The meta tags provide information about the web page, but it's essentially hidden information. It's hidden to viewers, that is, who come to your website. So you can see here, if you can watch where my mouse is going, the title, Stamp Collecting World. That is what people are actually going to see in the title bar of their browser. But then the meta name, everything you want to know about stamps, from prices to history, and meta keywords, stamp, stamp collecting, stamp history, these are all things that visitors to your website don't actually see. But these robots that go searching around and looking for information about websites, they definitely do see these. And so having your keyword phrase in your meta tags is very important in terms of being found. So your keyword phrase is really your first point of strategy for SEO. And you want to make sure that you pick something that really describes you. If you need help, Google has a free keyword tool. You can just Google the phrase keyword tool, and it'll be the first thing that comes up. Where you can actually type in keywords and phrases and find out what the competition is like in terms of how hard it is to get to the top of those search results. Now, if you are trying to be, if you are a telecommunications company and you are trying to get to the very top of Google's search results for the word telecommunications, good luck to you. Unless you are one of the biggest telecommunications providers in the country, you're not likely to make the first page. However, if you are, if you are this telecommunications provider in Fargo, there's every chance that for the keyword phrase Fargo Telecommunications or Fargo Television or Telephone Provider or Fargo Telephone Service, that for those keyword phrases you are likely to be able to get to the top pretty easily, because you are the most relevant thing in terms of that particular phrase. Now, another thing to know about keywords is that choosing phrases not related to your business is really a big no-no. You may have heard that recently JCPenney got itself in all sorts of trouble for running ads and using keyword phrases that had nothing to do with JCPenney, so that it was showing up at the top of search results for things like Samsonite luggage. It was showing up even before Samsonite itself was showing up. And JCPenney got in a lot of trouble with Google for doing this, and actually got disciplined by Google such that JCPenney was moved far down in terms of search results as a result. So just know that that's a no-no, trying to sort of get to the top of search results by falsely representing yourself through your keywords. So the second thing involved in all of this is links. And this refers both to links on your website, their quality and their quantity and how they're related to your business, so links to your offering that are outbound links to other places. But what's also huge is what's called backlinks. And backlinks refers to links back to your site from good, well-respected other websites out there. Ideally, in a perfect world, the best backlink you can have includes your key phrase. So for that example of that Fargo Telecom, if this link, which you see on the right here, if this appeared on another reputable site, like for instance the Fargo Chamber of Commerce, that would be excellent for the Fargo Telecommunications provider. And then the keyword phrase that you can see here, excellent provider of phone, internet, and TV service in Fargo. That is the text that's actually underlined in blue, which means that's the actual link text, or what we call the anchor text. And having your keyword phrase in that anchor text, so that it's your keyword phrase that is actually the phrase that people click on to get to your site, that's really huge for SEO and for improving your search result rankings. Now, there are some notes of caution here. You should beware because there are sites out there that are going to offer you or sell you backlinks, and those are not necessarily your best choice. Just having any old site link back to you is not necessarily a good thing. You really want it to be reputable sites that are linking back to you, and not just things that Google knows are just sort of these backlink factories, basically. It is okay to make comments on other websites and then link back to your own. If for instance, if somebody were writing a blog about Fargo and Fargo Telecommunications wanted to tag that and link back to their own website, that is okay so long as they're truly adding value to the discussion on the site that they're putting their own link on. You don't want to just be throwing your link around everywhere because that's going to get you into trouble. But if you are actually adding discussion and adding to the conversation, then by all means you can put a link back to your own website, and that's going to help with your search engine rankings. The next thing that's involved include page titles and URLs. URLs are just web addresses like www.pivotpicketchallenge.com. So let me show you an example here. The page titles itself, as I said a minute ago, is what appears in the top bar of your web browser. So this one's a little out of focus there, but you can see that it says the future of social search. And then the URLs, it used to be, just 3 or 4 years ago, it used to be that URLs, especially for blog posts and other articles around the internet, were just a series of unrelated numbers and letters. So you can see that example where I'm pointing here at the top. But now what websites have started doing is changing their actual URLs, their actual web addresses, so that they make sense in terms, so that you can look at the web address and know what that page is about. So you can see that this is a Mashable.com article from March 10th, 2011, and it's on the future of social search. That's the direction that you want to start moving in terms of the actual web addresses that are included on your website, because again, the Google or Bing or Yahoo robots that are going around searching the internet are looking to see if those web addresses actually make sense and actually tell you something about the content on their site. So sites that aren't doing this, sites that are still stuck in this alphanumeric code for pages, are really being left behind in terms of search engine results. Another thing that is involved here, this image I just thought was too silly to pass up, but the next thing that's involved is fresh content. If a Google robot visits your site and finds that it hasn't changed forever, since it hasn't changed since the last time that it visited your site, your search engine rankings are going to, they're not going to improve. In fact, they're going to start getting worse. And so having fresh content on your site is important in terms of your search engine optimization, and of course it's also just helpful in terms of keeping customers engaged and returning to your site. So fresh content is an important one to remember. Now, point 5, we sort of get around to why this is an appropriate topic for a Straight Talk on Social Media webinar in particular. It turns out that social media in some ways drives search results, and that's sort of in 2 different ways. First of all, it means that just having a presence on social media and in social networks is going to help your search results. If there are 2 companies, for instance, that had perfectly equal websites in terms of SEO, but company A has a Facebook and Twitter page, company B doesn't, then company A is actually going to be ranked higher because it has a social presence. And, of course, you've heard me talk about social search. That means that what people are saying about you, or whether they're clicking a like button about you, around the internet is going to help boost your search results also. But of course you can only have people be liking you online or following you if you have a social media presence. So that's another way in which social media affects your search engine results. Another thing that affects your search engine optimization is your page load speed. And what that means is that if your page takes too long to load, the robot from a search engine is going to leave before it waits around to see what is on your page and waits around to index what's on your page. And that is very bad news for your search engine optimization. You ideally want to have a page load of around a second, which means that from the time somebody types in your web address or clicks on a link to your site, that website is up within about a second for a standard internet connection. And because a second is really about all the time that most people and most search engines are going to give you. They're definitely going to leave after a few seconds, and that's again true for people and search engine robots. Here's a very silly graph I got in a recent email from a friend where the time perception of 1 minute is much higher for anything, much higher for waiting for a computer to load than for anything else. And this has actually ended up being very true when it comes to SEO. Moving on, just as important as having fresh content, which I mentioned a minute ago, is having good content. And what I mean by that is content that is free of mistakes and content that is also original. If one of these search engine robots comes to your site and finds misspellings or broken links and so on, your page is going to suffer in terms of search rankings, and your website, because your website is going to be considered fairly poor. Also, another big warning related to good content: you shouldn't borrow material from other websites without attribution. People tend to think that if something is on the internet, then it's just there, sort of in the public domain, but that's really not the case. And there are actually companies out there that exist to look for people reusing content that's not theirs. And if they find you, they will prosecute you. That's how these companies make their money. So just make sure that you've got good, clean content that does in fact belong to you, and that's free of mistakes and that sort of thing. And finally, a good back end helps your search results. A good content management system like WordPress, which is what Pivot tends to use to build our client websites with, or Joomla or Drupal, these are all systems that are built to create pages that can easily be indexed by Google and other search engines for search results. So having a good back-end system is also important when you're thinking about how your website is built. Now that may not be something that you can change right now if you have an existing website, but if you are thinking of redoing a website sometime in the future, you would want to use a content management system like that that's good for SEO. So that's basically my introduction to search engine optimization, and it really is truly just an introduction. There is so much more, and what I've given you is sort of a tip of the iceberg look. There's more we could talk about. And of course the nature of SEO is that there's always more you can learn because search engines are always changing their formulas for how they produce their search results. There's really no silver bullet when it comes to SEO. There are just several good practices, which is what I've been talking about here. So I want to open it up to questions. I did forget to mention at the start of our time together that I would be able to take some questions, so you can type those up in the GoToWebinar control panel if you want to. One question that's come across here is if you link other people's sites to your page, does that increase only their search engine optimization, or does it also increase yours? That's a great question, and really these, when you get backlinks, when another site that is reputable links to your site, or when you link to another site that's reputable, either direction, that helps both of you. It's a win-win situation with those links in terms of search engines. And so, again, for local businesses, particularly in small towns or rural areas, that might be a great opportunity to say to some of your other local businesses around, hey, let's share links with each other on our websites as a way of sort of helping, drive traffic and also increase the search rankings for that. That is something that does end up helping both of you. So that's about all the time we have for today. If you have any other questions, please do let me know. As always, the webinar slides will be available on our Facebook page, and the address for that is here. If you have any questions further about SEO or anything else, my email address is there, ian@askpivot.com. The next Straight Talk on Social Media webinar is going to be Friday, March 25th at 11 o'clock Pacific time. Our focus is going to be getting the most out of Yelp. I realize that I am pretty Facebook focused in these topics, just because there's so much that's good to say about Facebook, and its reach is so extensive. But I do want to help you learn a little bit more also about some of the other social media sites that are out there. So next time we'll be talking about Yelp and how that can be useful for your business. And also Dave Neustraten's next Straight Talk on telco marketing webinar is Wednesday, March 30th at 11 o'clock Pacific. So you can register for either of those on our Facebook page or through our website, askpivot.com. Anyway, that's it from me from today. Thank you for attending, everyone. Remember to keep your media social and your talk straight.